Hello, it's Dr. Al. Thanks for listening to me once again and viewing my videos. I hope they've been helpful to you and pray the best for you as you glean the wisdom that I share as I obtain that wisdom from the Lord and from others. And I do want to give credit to whom credit is due. And one of the books I want to recommend today, I used in a counseling session the other day, the precepts and wisdom from the textbook that I read years ago, and I used it as a textbook in one of my classes in college that I taught, and at Hannibal LaGrange University. And the textbook is Envy by Helmut Scholk. And it was originally written in the 60s by Helmut Scholk in German and was translated to English. And this edition is published by the Liberty Fund Publishers. Let me make sure that's correct. Yes, the Liberty Fund Publishers out of Indianapolis. And the title is Envy, A Theory of Social Behavior. And this book was recommended to me back in the 90s when I was going through a difficult time and had met with Bob Mumford, a wonderful vessel of the Lord. Bob Mumford, you could see his videos here on YouTube. I recommend that you view a few of them. Again, Bob Mumford, M-U-M-F-O-R-D. And I've known Bob Mumford from when I was 14 years old back in the 70s at Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and used to hear him preach and speak and teach at that time, and I pretty much followed him over the years. And Bob Mumford counseled me to get this book and said I needed to be aware of it, not only in my field of counseling others, but also just as an individual going through life and knowing that and being prepared for the envy from others that would attack me. And those of you in your 20s and 30s, you definitely need to know that whatever career you're going into, envy operates, and you will be attacked by people who are fueled by envy and don't seek your best, but seek the worst for you and want to befall you. But I found Helmut Scholk's treatise to be very, very accurate. This book is over 400 pages, and the bibliography is over 40 pages. So that lets you know how extensive his scholarship is. And it's very, very good. Very, very good book. Very good read, even though it's translated from German. An excellent read. And Helmut Scholk basically says that envy operates in every level, in every human interaction of social behavior. And envy works against us, and even the way that humans disguise envy, he says here on page 17, we disguise it with ambivalence, aggression, tension, rivalry, jealousy, and other indirect descriptions. Certainly passive-aggressive behavior is rooted in envy. And page 17 and following, he distinguishes and delineates the differences between envy and jealousy in the English languages. And envy is deeper than jealousy. Jealousy on the surface is simply the person saying, you have something I want. It's cool. I want it. I wish I had it. Envy goes deeper. Envy then goes the next level to where the person says, you have something I want, and I'm going to destroy the pleasure that you derive from that thing, whether it's a position and a career or whatever, it's a car, And he even talks about in one chapter how vandalism is rooted in envy, and vandals want to destroy the pleasure that people have from their car, from their house, their possessions, and they'll mark it up with certain paint or key the car just so the person cannot enjoy the item that's being vandalized. But jealousy then is when we observe or imagine with mistrust or dissatisfaction that someone is acquiring something which is really our due or which belongs to us. Jealousy is only directed against a definite transfer of coveted assets or their removal elsewhere, never against the asset as such. Envy often denies the asset itself. So he goes on in the rest of the book to show how envy operates in cultures, past, present, and will operate in the future. The chapter titles being Man the Envier, Envy in Language, The Envious Man and His Culture, Envy and Black Magic, The Envy Barrier of the Developing Countries, The Psychology of Envy, Envy is Seen by the Social Sciences, Crimes of Envy, The Envy of the Gods and the Concept of Fate, The Envious Man in Fiction, Politics and the Appeasement of Envy, In Praise of Poverty, The Sense of Justice and the Idea of Inequality, The Guilt of Being Unequal, The Eminent in the Society of Equals, The Society Redeemed from Envy, a Utopia, Is Ownership Theft, Social Indignation, Envy as Tax Collector, Social Revolutions, and the Theory of Envy in Human Existence. 22 chapters, and I recommend this book highly because it also, within each chapter, has a prescription to be proactive in combating envy in this certain arena that's covered in the chapter. So it gives us some help and assistance in overcoming or in stopping the effects of envy in trying to take us down. But basically, envy is a tool of struggle, a tool of violence. Envy certainly motivated many of the writings that are held dear by contemporaries. Envy certainly was in the writings of Frederick Engels and Karl Marx. And we see envy at work here in America in the results of this recent election, simply by people whose candidate was not elected, and the means and lengths that they're going to destroy the pleasure in the candidate who did win and those who supported that candidate. So, and this hasn't been the first election cycle that's occurred in. It's been in every election cycle, one could argue. But from what I'm hearing, this has been the most toxic. Now, how do I use this textbook in counseling? Well, people face a great deal of competition, and competition is healthy in the workplace, in their career, whatever their career may be. And because of that competition, many times, if someone feels scarcity as they approach the top of the pyramid in leadership or hierarchy, if someone's getting ahead of somebody else, the somebody else will more than likely deploy envy and tools of envy to take down the person that might get ahead of them on the hierarchy or the corporate ladder. That definitely gets thinner as you get closer to the top. So it's not uncommon for people to be blindsided or nuked or hurt as they progress in their career. So you would think other people would be happy for them, but that's clearly not the case. And not just here in America, but in people that I've worked with and talked to from all around the globe. And certainly missionaries face this, and when they go into an area and try and help the indigenous people out of envy may turn on them and may speak manner of evil against them, and simply out of envy, because a missionary may be from America or some other country of which the indigenous peoples are envious. So even in missiology, people have to overcome the darts and arrows of envy and work to disarm the envy arrows, and certainly not use them back at the indigenous peoples, and not do something in passive aggressive or aggressive spite or in retaliation. So we have to prepare people, especially I feel like people in their 20s and 30s. I teach this at college over and over again and grad school, so that people will be prepared for what they're going to face in their career from others. And so they're prepared for the envy attacks and can work and still succeed despite that occurring. So I pray this is helpful. I hope that you'll get the book Envy and read through it. That's how thick this is, a hardback edition. Again, it's the Liberty Fund out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Book Envy by Helmut Scholk, subtitled A Theory of Social Behavior. Bless you, and I pray this has helped you as much as Bob Mumford helped me when he recommended this book to me, and pray blessings on you. Thank you.